Hey everybody, I'm Michelle Carpenter and I'm back. As you can see, with new dangly earrings. You got to bring some trinkets back. Um, as the one guy in the bazaar had said to us, he was so funny in the bazaar in Cairo. He's like, you got to buy cheap stuff, you got to buy cheap shit. But anyway, gosh, I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. So thank you for all the messages of encouragement and for all the messages to find out if we were safe. I always knew, honestly, that we were going to be safe, that we were going to be held up in the way that we were by our spirit teams. We are currently looking at a time where myself and Jill could put a group gathering together. And for those of you who are in the group, if they wanted to share with us, we've welcomed them to come and share, but that will happen in the next few days, and then we'll put it out there. We'll put it out there as to what we all experienced as best as we can, put it out into a platform and onto, obviously, onto our YouTube channels. But thank you for all the love, thank you for all the care, thank you for all the concern. I don't even know where to start, so I'll try and start from the beginning, but I'm not going to share too much today. It's more just about saying, hey, I'm back, guys. What I've been back for almost 2 weeks now, and the first week I was just living in a different stratosphere, and I kind of was just like, whoa, whoa. I came back to New Zealand and I thought, okay, when am I going to come back? Am I going to come back the same, or am I literally going to come back into my body and be different? Well, I can tell you that I am most certainly feeling different. I'm still feeling the waves of the upgrade that I've gone through. And I went through like this bit of moment of like this ego moment where I was like, oh my God, am I still going to be Michelle? Well, I am I not? So kudos to me being back in my body. But at the same time, I had a few days of just going, whoa, so this is what it's like to just live out there in the field, in our light bodies. And it was calm and it was peaceful. It's calm, it's peaceful. And I came to realize how, that's what I'm most certainly walking towards is, and I know it happens, and I'm living more in my present self, more in my present time of who I am. And that for me feels different. So even to be honest and to be, that's what you're going to get from me, that hasn't changed, which I'm very grateful to hear and know, is for me keeping it real and sharing my truth with you. Is I just wanted the experience to be my experience. So I clearly didn't share anything. I didn't put anything on Facebook or on Instagram until I came back to New Zealand. I wanted to be engulfed in the experience. I wanted to be completely open and be a clear channel for spirit to come through and for the different gods and goddesses to come through and talk to me. And I really needed that clarity, and I really was striving to kind of just almost be in that space of holding space and just letting it be my experience as best as I was feeling into it. So I know that might sound a little bit selfish, guys, but what I've come to realize by being, and it's my choice to be on a platform, a public platform, that I do give a lot of my energy out, and I'm very grateful for the messages I receive. Sometimes receive such daft messages, I don't even know how to respond to them. One being from a gentleman that was sharing with me the premonitions he had received many, many years ago. And I just said to him, I said, if you'd like to book a session, please book a session. And the other thing was, because he sent me 2 emails, and I just said to him, I actually don't even know how to answer you. It was kind of some dark stuff that he was that he knew about, and that's not the world that I choose to live in. So I do realize that I expose myself here. I do realize that I put myself out there on the line, to either be judged or for everybody to have their different perceptions and opinions. And I've learned that I've got to be okay with that. That's what I was shown. I was shown that this is something that's really important for me to put myself out there, for me to share my journey, for me to share my stories, to share my experiences. And I hope that doesn't sound egotistical, but I know that there's resonance and when we relate to each other's stories, especially as being human. So back to Egypt. Just to give you a little brief synopsis of what had happened, I'd received incredible messages. I'd received incredible moments of realizing that my energy, that my body was going through massive shifts. I, at the same time, had a massive claustrophobic situation when we entered into the pyramid on the 26th of October. And I'm very grateful to the wonderful tour guide that we had. He stormed up the stairs because I literally went in and they're tiny. You know, if any of you have been to Israel, they're small. And I was like, kind of, you have to hunch going down. And I was like, I've got this, I've got this. No, fucking don't. I couldn't see a window. I mean, please, these are the pyramids. And I couldn't see the bottom, like I couldn't see a room where it actually expands. So, you know, it's quite small. And the tour guide, Robbie, ran up the stairs, past everybody, squeezed past everybody, looked at me, he said, face your fears, face your fears. And I was like, okay, I think I can. And then my beautiful friend Laura came and she leaned against me like this. This is her back towards me from what I can remember. And she started singing, speaking, I think, and singing light language. And I just completely chilled. And I went, okay, I can do this. Whew. And there were a few moments after that even, but I don't want to go too much into the pyramid because I'd like that to be a sharing with Jill and myself and the others and how we remember it, because it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience collectively together. And so that was kind of going into the pyramid. But the first day of being in Egypt, we went to the museum and there were all these kids and these wonderful young boys all dressed in red tops. And this is how I know life to be, guys. Remember, when there's one thing, there's the other. So meaning when we have joy, we could have anger in the very similar timeline. You know, that's the paradox of life. And this is exactly what happened. I saw the young kids and I was like, oh my God, like I was on fire. I think my inner child probably drove a lot of people mad. But I was just like there to enjoy the moments as best as I could. And I started high-fiving them, sort of going up to them. And there must have been about, I don't know, 30 kids. And it was awesome. I just started high-fiving them. And so I was high-fiving these children and excitement. Like then some other people got involved and it was just awesome. Like we really, really just had a lot of fun. And then we went outside and took a photo as a group, and then we came back inside, and it was fascinating. There were two Arab men, I think they were teachers maybe, and they just started arguing. I remember seeing the kids on the one side and these men on the other side, and there were a few other adults that sort of joined, and because it kind of escalated, but no punches thrown, no, it was, and I remember looking, going, oh, there's the duality of life. There's innocence and there's adults. There's kids, there's adults, and wow, look at this. A few seconds ago, a few minutes ago, having joy, and here you have the anger. So these are kind of the moments well, there was one moment in time, and then we went into the museum, and there were a few things that we looked at. It's incredible, guys. Man alive, to think that these humans knew so much, such a long time ago, is way beyond me. And then we went down into the section where the mummies are, and that was fascinating for me. I just took my time. I wove in between all of them, and I connected with all of them. And I was receiving messages from most of them. Some of them I felt bigger connections with, and I could feel my heart expanding. And I got messages saying, welcome, we've been waiting for you. And it was incredible. It was really, really incredible to see how they've been embalmed, how some of them still have hair, little teeth that stick out like this. Can you see? Yeah, you see little teeth like that. Their little toes, their little hands. Oh man, just even that in itself is so incredible, how they thought of doing this such a long time ago. So we went to many different temples, and I received quite a few messages. Some of the temples were just like, okay, I'm not feeling anything here. And then other temples, I was receiving massive, massive, massive. I was going through portals. I was like, and I like, whoa, okay. So I saw different beings. Oh gosh, went to different galaxies. There's so much that I'm still processing. And like I say, as time goes on, I'll probably share a little bit more, but I just want to hold the space to just let you all know that I'm back. I'm very happy to be back. As per anything, when you go to a different country, in my opinion, you come back. I look forward to my bed, look forward to my pillow, and I look forward to just being back in my home with my family. That sounded quite funny, hey, my bed first before my family. But it is, it's those kind of things where, and it's not like we didn't stay in shitty places, we stayed in some really nice places. But the simplicity of how the Egyptians live is what blew my mind. Now, I come from a country where it's both first world and third world, from South Africa. And you look at the diversity of life, and you look at somebody like me who's perhaps every now and again going into a pity party victimhood, like, I want blinds, I want nice curtains, I want nice carpets for my home. And then I came to realize that, wealth is different for different people. And I'm wealthy in a lot of ways. Financially, still working on that, okay? And that's my honest truth. I am working on that. I'm working on my belief systems around bringing in the abundance. And that is where I came to realize is that I actually want for very little. When you look at how these people live, they eat hummus. You sit at a restaurant and they give you hummus and pita bread and what else? Tahini and I think it's called babushka, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of eggplant, and I was just really keen to just explore whatever we were given. Pomegranates, oh my God. I grew up with pomegranates in Zimbabwe. Like, we had a pomegranate tree or a few. And then you just at breakfast you see these massive big bowls of pomegranates with beautiful, beautiful yogurt, Greek yogurt and feta cheese, and like simple, guys, just simple. And interesting enough, I didn't see a lot of obesity, obese people. I just didn't. Somebody asked me, did I see a McDonald's? I think we saw a Burger King somewhere. I think that was in one of the airports, if I'm not mistaken. But just living simply and eating, like, I love the concept of eating with your hands, it just makes sense. So I'm giving you a little bit of what I can remember and how incredible it was. Mangoes, oh my soul. In New Zealand, we just don't get the best mangoes. I haven't tasted one, to be honest. We got one like that, and juicy, juicy, juicy. I mean, we were just coming out of mango season apparently in Egypt, but still, I mean, my mouth waters. I'm salivating now as I even talk about it, because mangoes are something that we grew up with in Zimbabwe and South Africa. So, it takes you back to that childhood, those feelings, that nostalgic way of even just also being in Africa. But I was really, really, really touched by the people. I had the most amazing experience when I was leaving. We were shown that we would carry the light in many different ways to our different countries, to our different lands. And when I got to the airport in Cairo and I was leaving, there was this beautiful woman standing in front of me and crying and crying and crying. Now, what I haven't mentioned, and I'll come back to the story, is I'd had a very, very big emotional moment with my brother who lives in Israel. And my hope was to get to Israel. Like, I kind of, in my ego, in my heart, in my knowing, I was kind of hoping that what we were going to do was shift this consciousness of hatred and shift this consciousness of the war that was happening. And unfortunately, it's still continuing. And I'm not here to number one tell you which sides are right or wrong. I'm just sharing my experience with you guys. And the day that I said to my brother, we'd been in Egypt for almost a week, and I said to him, we were trying to figure out a way for me to get into Israel, which I could have gone to Sharm el Sheikh, I think it was, and he was prepared to come and drive and fetch me. but it was the flights of getting out and getting home that was a little bit, we weren't 100% sure about. And I was crying. I was just sobbing my heart out, saying to my brother, I'm so sorry this is happening to you guys. I'm so sorry that this is happening for everybody concerned. It was just heartbreaking. And my brother was in his mode of protection, and he's like, he was just sharing stuff with me, and he says, have you seen what's happening? And I went down a wormhole one day on YouTube, and it's just heartbreaking. We all know that. We know that there's so much upheaval that's happening around the world, guys. So to go back to the airport and me leaving Cairo, there was this young woman sobbing her heart out, and I'm smiling because there's a beautiful ending to this. And we were gifted these beautiful little crystals, heart crystals, by a beautiful friend who had joined us on the group, Sue. And they came in beautiful little pouches with lavender. True story, I thought they weren't. I thought they were, when you go to Indian restaurants and you eat the aniseed, I was like, oh my God, I love these. And I took one out and went, okay, this isn't one of those. But I genuinely thought it was. And then I saw the crystal in it. And I was blessed enough to get another 2 of these little lavender packs. And I had the we're not allowed to bring in seeds into New Zealand, so I had to throw the lavender out. But I had one of the little crystals in my pocket, and it was quite interesting. When I came through security, they still touch you, and she said, "Oh, what's in there?" So I pulled it out, and she smiled, the security lady, and I said, "Thank you." Got to customs, and this young woman was crying, and I put my hand on her back, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm okay, I'm fine, thank you very much." And she still cried, and she cried. And I went in front of her and I said, "Can I give you a hug?" Oh, cue the tears, guys. You know me. It's something I've come to realize. I wouldn't be me without sharing these moments of truth, these moments of rawness, these moments of realness, where I still feel that moment. It was so beautiful. And she just hugged me. And I took this little crystal out my pocket and I said, "Here we go." And she had, and I don't have them right now, she had beautiful heart earrings. And she took her earrings out and she gave them to me and she said, "Thank you very much." But the beauty of the gift that she gave me was this. I said, "What's your name?" And she said, and I want to get it right, it is Heba, Heba. And I asked her, "What does that mean?" And she said, "Gift." And she was from Saudi Arabia. We never got into the story, guys. It didn't matter. Sometimes I go into my stories. That's what you guys hear, is my experience. You hear, obviously, for the channeling as well. But the beauty of that gift that we gave one another in that moment was beyond anything that I could ever have imagined to end off my trip with. And I had my black and white shirt on that said, "Love is why we are here." And I thought, Michelle, it's time to walk your talk. And I truly believe, guys, that is why we are here, is to love one another more. Throughout all, we know what hatred feels like. We know what feeling disillusioned in life feels like. We know what depression feels like. And we know that the opposite of those is a space of knowing. And our knowing is our love, guys. It is. Even when I was in the pyramid, and this might be hard to hear for some of you, knowing that there's been so much hatred that has been going on within so many different parts of the world. And I was sending love to those people that are perhaps full of hatred, full of darkness. And I'm not going to mention them exactly who they are. There were quite a few that just came into my vision and that I was shown, just send them love to. Because we were all born from a space of connection. Not only the sexual connection, the physical connection, yet connection in some way. And I know some of you have come into this world maybe not in the most easiest way. And what I mean by that is, I've worked with a lot of clients who have unfortunately been abandoned as young ones. Some of you, and I'm just being shown that it's important that I share this. So just letting you know that this might not be the easiest conversation to listen to, conversation with myself or you guys listening. But some people have come into this world through being raped, and it's not ideal. But we know all of those harsh, limiting, like moments in time. And if we flip the switch, what are we creating? What are we wanting for our world? What are we wanting for our new earth that we know is very much the clarity, the clearing, the knowing. So for me, that was a big learning within the group as well, was to keep showing up as best as I could. But I had to learn to show up for myself. So there were moments where I just needed to be on my own, where I had to communicate that I just needed time. Sometimes I would just walk off or go and have coffee on my own in the morning. And if somebody wanted to come and sit, I'd say, if you don't mind. So those were those were moments where I just had no guilt anymore. And that was weird for me, let me tell you. It was just like, okay, I'm just speaking my truth right now. And people heard. It wasn't, there was no intended vibration behind that. Meaning, sometimes it might be like, oh, if you don't mind, like I just need some space right now. I don't know why I use that voice, but I clearly have used that voice before. But that can offend people. I would just look at some people and say, if you don't mind, I'm just in the middle of something, or I'm busy. I was busy like having a one-on-one. Now that is different for me, guys. Because normally I'd be like, the person would sit and then there'd be like this uncomfortable silence or whatever. So I'm just giving you little bits of how I've started to see myself differently. And I hope that in my sharing, that you guys start to see yourselves differently. I know this has been one big F up of a year. Oof, man. There's so many people that I know, so many clients that I've had the privilege of working with, that have had massive, massive life-changing events happen. And they're still here. They have thought about checking out. They have thought about leaving. And I know there is a lot of that happens. I fully know it just by doing the work that I do. And it's not easy. Most of us just feel this, within the earth a lot of the times. Yet at the same time, if we can go back to the joy, if we can find a space of joy inside of us, if we can laugh. Man, I laughed so much. I probably drove people mad because I was just on. Like, I'd be like, oh, there's my best buddy. And it's like anything in life. You click with certain people, and so certain people you just don't. And that's okay. It's not right or wrong, not good or bad. We all knew we were there to share in whichever way that we could share. And I most certainly met the most beautiful, beautiful people who have the biggest hearts. And it was really, really incredible. Even when I'd had a real big moment of disappointment of knowing that I couldn't go over to Israel, I was so deeply saddened. And so many people came up to me and just gave me a hug. They didn't even have to ask, And as much as we were in the one country, and I knew that, there's these two countries that can, at any time, the reality is we're all people, guys. And we met a doctor, a Palestinian doctor, who was working in Israel, and they'd come for a few days into Egypt to just have a bit of a reprieve. And I held this woman's hand and I just cried. I said, thank you for everything you're doing for everyone. You know, again, I can't begin to imagine how she felt or feels by being put on the front line. But she was there to do an incredible, miraculous amount of work. And I don't even know if she's still around in her physical body. But that's what happened. We showed up, we shared, we acknowledged, we cried together, we held one another. There was a moment where I most certainly had been triggered a few times. The one time I overly expressed it, and then I caught myself, I was like, oh shit, okay, that's the part of me that I don't like. But I was very masculine dominant and very strong in my voice, and I was like, okay, Michelle, that's what you don't want to be like anymore. But what I'm sharing with you is that those parts are inside of us and they can show up, even when you're on a spiritual quest. So I'm very grateful to be back. I'm grateful for those of you who keep sharing what I share. And I'm grateful that for those of you who are still here following me, please know that I will be putting more out as the day goes on. Not today, but as life goes on. It was a very, very, very interesting moment in my life where I had to make a very clear-cut decision. Do I continue doing what I'm doing right now by putting these videos out there or not? And I received clarification for me. Because sometimes I never know. I never know if what I'm speaking is just random BS. But I also do know that by the comments that you guys share, by people who send me emails, even some of the random emails that I've got no understanding of what the email's about. For me, it's always about giving the time. For me, it's always about just saying, thank you very much. You're welcome to book a session, or you're welcome to, or I don't understand what you're talking about. And that's what I'm learning, is that it's also okay to speak my truth. And so thank you guys. Thank you for being here. And again, I do realize that love is why we are here. And man, I just love that. I love that setting. Don't know how it happened once again, but it is. It's just how can we emit love? How can we give and receive and receive and give and receive and give and give and receive, and to ourselves and then to others, even for those who are in war-torn spaces right now. My family is okay. I want you to know that. Thank you for all the prayers. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the support. They are okay. And many are going through some tumultuous times, and may we just think about those people. Actually, I'm going to do it right now. So for those of you who are here that are seeing this video, I'm going to ask you to just close your eyes, please. Put your hands on your hearts and connect into your heart space. Connect into the vibration, the pulsation of your heart. Feel the beat. And as you breathe in love. And as you breathe out love to those within these worn, funny enough, I'm not getting the words right, these war-torn spaces, as war tears people apart. So again, breathe in love, breathe out love to those spaces. You could think of the words peace, harmony, tranquility, surrender, whatever word comes to mind. But ultimately, breathe in love for yourself and fill yourself up with love. And breathe out love. And breathe in love. And breathe out love. And this is a great space to be in. If any of you are working through some anxiety, or just having a day where you may be in fight or flight, please know that you can just do this. Set your timer for 5 to 10 minutes. Breathe in love, breathe out love. Even to those that have hurt you, in this lifetime. Breathe in love, breathe out love. I was just checking if my sound was okay. You see, I crack myself up, okay? I'm back. Still trying to figure out the technology, guys. Still trying to figure out the technology. I know that I love you all, and I am incredibly, incredibly, incredibly enamored. I think that's the right word. I don't even know. That's just coming through right now with the amount of beautiful people who are here that are following me. Sometimes I'm going to be sharing some hard pressed issues, sharings, and sometimes I'll be just sharing the love, sharing the joy. So, for those of you who are here, thank you guys. I know that I love you, and I'm very, very, very happy to be back. I will see you soon, and the next video will be probably Jill and myself and those that were on our trip, whoever can show up. Have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. Bye, guys.